Everyone, remain calm.
Yeah, that's how it always starts. And later there's running and screaming.
Somebody talk to me! What is happening?
Welcome to Jurassic World.
You're listening to the Jurassic Park Podcast.
You want to consult here or in my bungalow? Hold on to your butts.
Well, we're back.
Hello and welcome to the 132nd episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. I am your host, Brad Jost, and we are here to discuss all things Jurassic Park. In this episode, we have some fun news to cover for Jurassic Park's 25th anniversary. After that, we present episode 14 of Extinction Level Jurassic Park from Arjan Bos. Last time, we heard a cool crossover between the ongoing Extinction Level story and Jurassic Park 3's story, as well as a cliffhanger for 2017 that ended with a vehicle crashing in the jungle. In store for us this week, we'll hear the aftermath of that crash and learn even more about the virus that is ravaging the wildlife. After Extinction Level, I usually give my thoughts on the episode, but this week it'll be a little bit different. I'll be going over the episode this week in the Visitor Center with the creator of Extinction Level, Arjan Bos. But speaking of the Visitor Center, I will be chatting with Arjan all about his Jurassic fandom, the creation of Extinction Level, and so much more. I've been really dying to speak with him all about all that stuff, so I hope you really enjoy that segment. Alright, well we've got a packed episode, so why don't we get this one started off with a bit of Jurassic news from around the world.
18 minutes and your company catches up on 10 years of research.
Access rate program. Access new security.
These pictures were taken in hospital in Costa Rica 48 hours ago.
I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but look.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
But today, I guarantee it.
This week, Universal announced a very fun way to relive and recreate your favorite memories from Jurassic Park for its 25th anniversary for a chance to win some money and some prize packs, which is really cool. So I'm going to dive into the details here. They shared this all via a video and some more information on their website. So if you want to find out this information, actually head to JurassicWorld.com/JP25. I'm going to go through some of that stuff here. Alright, so one of the first ways that you can enter this contest is to relive your favorite moments from Jurassic Park. Now, doing so, you will actually create a video that tells your story, and they have a few ideas for you to share here. So, including stuff like your first memory of seeing Jurassic Park, a moment that made you jump out of your seat, or the impact the film has had on your life. Now, if your video is chosen, it will be shared and experienced by Jurassic Park fans all across their social media channels and so on. And the prize pack is actually pretty interesting here. So it looks like 24 winners will be awarded $250 and a Jurassic Park shirt. Now there's one grand prize winner that will receive $1,000 and a Jurassic Park shirt and a new Jurassic World prize package and a surprise item. Now, there's a few details that you have to be wary of when creating your video. They don't want any kind of third-party toys or logos, books, games, shoe logos, clothing, or any objects from other franchises than Jurassic Park. They want you to try to use a blank wall or empty outdoor area for your video. I guess that makes it easier so you don't have those objects in the background. And they don't want any kind of music in your submission. They're also looking for stories and memories about Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World. So try to keep it concise to just that movie since it is the 25th anniversary for that movie. Now, there's a bunch more details and rules and restrictions and whatnot, so I'm going to leave that to you to find out. I'll leave the link to all this stuff in our show notes. All right, so the next way that you can enter this contest is to recreate your favorite moments from Jurassic Park. Now, you can do this in any way. They have a few examples here: animation or illustration, toys, family members, pets. Now, along with that, like I said before with the other prize pack, if your video is chosen, this one will actually be intercut with original film footage and, of course, shared across all their social media channels. Now, again, this is basically the same prize pack here. I don't know if this is if it's different prize packs for each submission or they're just the same. I'm not really sure, but it does say the same thing. 24 winners will be awarded $250 Jurassic Park t-shirt, and the one grand prize winner will receive $1,000, a t-shirt, and Jurassic World prize package, and one surprise item. Same thing goes with all the logos, the other franchises and whatnot, so try to keep all that stuff out of your videos. So again, more details on that on their websites. Now, this contest is only available for a few more days, not too long actually, until January 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. It looks like participants should be 13 years or older at the time of entry. You don't have to purchase anything, so don't worry about that. There's a lot more rules. You can look them all up and find out more. This is going to be a really, really fun contest. I can't wait to see all the results of this, to see how people relive their favorite moments or, their favorite memories. That's kind of what we've been all about here on this podcast is reliving those memories and finding out what brought you to this franchise and what keeps you around. So I'm interested to hear what people do with that, and also the more creative side of this contest with the recreation of scenes from the movies. That's going to be really fun to watch. I can't wait to see more on that. So again, head to our show notes, find the video that they posted, and also more information on how to enter this contest.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
And now, episode 14 of Extinction Level Jurassic Park.
Previously on Extinction Level Jurassic Park.
A small private jet crash landed earlier today.
I'd like to take a team and go to the old research compound to...
That's the team on the other end. They are going to track them.
We're very close to finding a cure. Certainly now that I have this.
Yeah, what is that?
This device will help me transfer the data from the tapes neural data center.
Where can I do my research?
What is it?
That thing was infected.
Oh.
But this howler monkey was dead within days. The disease must have changed. I want to go and check the beach again.
There are people down there.
Is that Dr. Grant?
We need to move. We can let the security team know they can find them here.
Maybe we should...
What the...
Ow. Extinction Level Episode 14. Crash. Henry's Humvee had slammed with the side against a tree, stopping the car instantly, and the motor turned off. Hurt at his side, Tim looked eyes wide at the gun in his hands, squeezed in between him and the door of the car he had slammed against, his eyes close to the end of the barrel. Thankful the gun hadn't gone off, he pushes himself away from the side. Raymond, sitting in the middle of the front of the car, pressed against Henry, pushed himself away and turns to look at Henry, who was also conscious, shaking his head.
Oh, jeez, Henry. What happened?
Carlos, grip.
Then Henry Wu looks back at Tim, who's groaning softly.
You alright, Tim?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Just hurt my arm a bit when I slammed into the side.
Now what are we gonna do?
Henry tries to restart the engine. It whirs and sputters, but it does not start. Then Wu tries to open the door, but it's dented inwards and doesn't budge.
My door is blocked, broken. Raymond, can you get on your side?
Raymond looks outside his window and looks around. He listens for a moment.
Come on, Ray. I need you to take a look at the engine. You know engines, right?
Uneasy now, Raymond looks at Henry. The response uncertain.
Yeah, sure.
Raymond gets out, looks back, sees nothing, and walks to the front of the car, opening the hood. Smoke billows out, and Raymond comes walking back to his door and leans in.
It doesn't look good, Henry. Hopefully it's just loosened some wires, but we'll know soon enough. Tim, can you give me that box underneath my seat? There should be a small toolbox there.
Tim reaches underneath the right front seat and takes out a small toolbox, which he hands to Raymond.
Thanks.
Raymond walks back to the front and disappears behind the hood of the Humvee. You think he can get it fixed?
Let's hope so. I wouldn't like to walk the whole way back.
You think there are dinosaurs out there? Finding this funny, Henry Wu laughs, looking back at Tim with a smile.
Tim, I know there are dinosaurs out there. We put them there, remember?
Seriously, I mean, you don't think the T-Rex will come after us?
Come on, Tim. You still have that gun to shoot it with if you came around the corner, right?
At that moment they hear Raymond.
Jeez!
Something thuds on the floor. Chittering. Silence. Raymond muttering.
Raymond! You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. A little bugger just scared me is all. What do you want? Go! Henry! Give it a go, would you?
Okay.
You invited your friends, huh?
Henry turns the ignition. Sputtering, the engine comes back to life.
Good!
Raymond closes the hood and reveals a bunch of consignates, chittering and jumping around him. Raymond points at them for Henry and Tim.
Get a load of these guys, huh? What do you think they want? Go on now. Get out the road or we'll run you over. Shoot!
Within the car, Henry turns a little nervous.
Raymond, get in the car. We should go.
They're not dangerous, right? You said compies are scavengers. Cleaning up the dino down?
Yes. And no.
From the forest to the side, a compy jumped onto the hood of the car, screeching at Raymond and almost immediately jumping onto Raymond's face, biting him on the nose. Raymond throws the animal off and turns to look at it, while it joins its friends surrounding Raymond. He makes a move to the door of the car, and the animals move aside.
That wasn't nice! Get out of here!
Raymond kicks dirt at the animals, which take a little more distance, but they keep watching him. Confused, Raymond shakes his head, rubbing his lightly bleeding nose, spreading the blood over his face.
Come on, Ray, get in!
Dazed, Raymond walks towards the door and gets in. The animals try to make one last move, jumping at the door as Raymond closes it, and they jump up in disappointment. Henry puts the car in gear, and as the car starts to move, the animals scatter away. Henry looks at Raymond, who is wiping the blood off his face with a paper tissue.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little lightheaded is all.
Why did they do that?
They can be aggressive. Come on, let's go back and get you looked at.
They drive off, returning to the worker village. The moment they returned at the worker village, Tim and Henry took Raymond to his room and into bed, in the hope he would recover soon from his lightheadedness, which had become worse on their way back. Seeing Raymond now gently sleeping, Tim looks up at Henry. I think I'll take a moment too, in my room.
Okay, I'd better let Mr. Masrani know we've returned.
They part their ways, and Henry makes his way to the control room, finding Masrani inside, looking straight at him with his back to the room.
Mr. Masrani.
Henry, good to have you back. Found what you were looking for. Took you long enough.
Yeah, I think I have what I need, but I'll have to analyze the data we retrieved, which I'll do immediately after. I just can't tell you that we've returned and found your stray guests. They were at the compound.
They were, huh?
Vic Hoskins, sitting back, relaxed in the room, to the right of the door, had returned with the search party. Henry Wu had not noticed him sitting there yet, behind him. He turns to look at him, surprised.
Hey, you're back.
Yeah, of course. Gotta eat, you know.
Did you bring my T-Rex sample?
Certainly.
Hoskins tosses a small vial towards Henry, who snatches it out of the air.
Careful! And yeah, I think you should go look quickly. They're being chased by raptors.
Raptors, huh? Then they'd be lucky to survive at all.
Vic, just get your team and go pick them up.
First thing tomorrow.
Hoskins gets up to leave the room.
Tomorrow?
Hoskins turns to explain, pointing outside to the jungle, making wild hand gestures.
Look, those people out there are responsible for getting lost out here on the island. I'm responsible for my team, and it'll be getting dark real soon. I'm not risking my men out there. Certainly not in the company of India's most dangerous assets running around. Right now, they're either dead or they found shelter, which will make them harder to find. Trust me, we have a better chance in the morning.
Alright, Vic. Daylight tomorrow morning.
Sure thing.
And take Murphy.
The kid? Why?
It's what I brought him here for. Say he represents John Hammond's legacy.
I thought that's what those creatures were.
Just take him.
Muttering, Hoskins leaves the room.
There's always something. But where's that case of scotch on those good days?
Are you sure about Tim?
Why do you ask?
Never mind. I'll get back to my work.
Good, good.
Who turns to leave too?
Henry, have you seen Raymond by any chance?
Yes. Sorry, I forgot. That was the other thing. Raymond helped me out.
Good. He's back now too. Hoskins can deal with our uninvited guest, I'm sure. I need to get back to the mainland.
Yeah, the thing
I have
is...
other business to attend to. Thing?
We had a little incident. Oh, don't worry. He's okay. He just needs to rest a little.
How much rest do you think he needs?
Give him the night. I'm hopeful he'll be well tomorrow. I'll keep a close watch on him.
You are hopeful. Henry, I need my pilot.
This remark is followed by an awkward silence for a few long seconds. Neither man knows what to say. Masrani looks outside the control tower, seeing the helicopter standing idle below on the ground, a short distance away.
I should have taken flying lessons when I had the chance.
Sorry, sir.
What if he's not well in the morning?
I don't know.
I can't stay here.
A control worker speaks out.
Sorry, but I overheard. There will be a supply ship early morning. They could take you back to the mainland after unloading.
Okay, that will be the backup plan. Let the captain of the supply ship know they may have another passenger.
Okay, sir.
Henry, check on Raymond early in the morning and let me know.
Alright then. Good night, sir.
Alright then.
And uncomfortable, Henry Wu leaves the control room, closing the door behind him. Back on the beach on Isla Matanceros, Marty Gutierrez walks along the jungle line, attempting to locate a living specimen of the Compsognathus. The sun is setting and it is getting darker. Waves are softly crashing on the sandy beach into the distance, and Gutierrez is losing hope to find anything today. Then he spots something, a large figure further along the beach, washed up on the shore, waves washing over it. He looks back at Gonzalo, who came along.
Gonzalo.
He signals Gonzalo to follow him, and they approach the figure, partly buried in the sand. An almost white carcass of a man-high animal, not clearly distinguishable, but with a skin of leathery texture. Then Gonzalo reaches him, spotting the clawed foot of the animal.
¿Es esto lo que yo creo?
I'm afraid so.
Tenemos que destruirlo tan pronto como sea posible, para prevenir contaminación.
Gonzalo turns and runs back. With the sun going down, the sky turning a dark blue, Marty Gutierrez approaches the carcass, staring at it for a moment as the waves keeps washing over it. Marty puts on gloves, nearing the carcass carefully, covering his nose against the smell. He pulls the carcass out of the waves, onto the beach. From his jacket, Marty takes a syringe and a test tube with a liquid substance. Then Gonzalo returns, followed by Andrea, who is carrying a flamethrower, shouting,
Por favor, retírese.
No, espera. Quiero obtener una muestra.
Moving quickly now, Marty pushes the syringe inside the carcass to get a tissue sample. As he does so, Andrea pushes past Marty, trying to push Marty away from the carcass, and the needle breaks. Andrea lights the carcass on fire, and quickly Marty backs up a few steps more, moving away from the heat. Disappointed, Marty looks down at his syringe, with only a very small sample. He adds the entire sample to the substance in the test tube, which reacts, turning brown. Marty, feeling terrible of what this discovery means, slowly falls back through his knees onto his butt, sitting on the beach, knees high, staring at the burning carcass.
These dead carcasses can wash up anywhere. I'm sorry, John. I just can't keep this quiet any longer.
While the carcass burns, its muscles contract, and the head and tail lift up. Andrea jumps back in fright as this happens. To a knowing eye, it would be clearly recognizable as a male velociraptor. Quills on its head, eyes already gone, and sockets flaming.
¿Qué demonios es este?
Gutierrez takes a satellite phone and dials a number. Waiting for the phone call to go through, Gutierrez looks at the sharp teeth of the carcass, now clearly visible, standing out against the flames.
Jorge?
Again, Andrea lights the flamethrower, and Gutierrez imagines the sound of the flames, as though it is the velociraptor snarling.
Alert our contact at the governor, and tell them that the quarantine on Isla Sorna is failing. These animals should all be destroyed to stop the spreading of a deadly disease.
The flames stand out against the darkening sky as the carcass falls back again to the ground, still burning. Gutierrez's eyes follow sparks of the flames spiraling up into the darkening sky, where they disappear among appearing stars.
Let's open up the doors to the Visitor Center and speak with Arjan Bos, the creator of the audio drama Extinction Level Jurassic Park. Welcome back to the Visitor Center, the spot where we chat with people doing cool Jurassic work in and out of the community. And today I'm joined by somebody who actually has been on the podcast quite a bit over the past year, but we really haven't gotten the chance to know him or find out what drove him to create Extinction Level Jurassic Park. So let's welcome in the radio drama producer, Arjan Bos. How you doing, dude?
Hey, thank you for welcoming me, and yeah, I'm doing fine.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm really excited to finally get this, recorded and done, because you've been on the podcast for quite a while, and we've never don't think we've never personally talked like on a recording. So
no, this is the first time indeed. So it's my second time I'm on a podcast. So in like the interview stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The other times we're all recording for Extinction Level.
Yeah, it's so funny because I talk with people about the podcast, and I'm like, I actually have never talked to that person, or I've never like met any of these people, or it's so funny that how all this works and how everybody can come together and produce content. And I think Extinction Level is probably the perfect way to do that. There's so many people coming together, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I do want to ask you a question that I ask every guest on the podcast. So if you were stuck in a kitchen with a velociraptor, what would you do, and would you make it out alive?
Okay. Well, I think what I would do is I would start screaming at the raptor, hoping it get confused.
Yeah.
And of course, it wouldn't be confused, and I'll just get myself killed very quickly.
I love that because you face the facts, and you're like, it's not going to be confused. It knows exactly what I'm doing, and it's not scared at all. So it's just going to get me no matter what.
Just that split second when I think I'm winning, and then I'm done.
You're like, all right, I'm going to scream. This is going to be the best idea I've ever had. You start screaming, and then the raptor's like, it does that thing a dog does where it like tilts its head to the side and it like looks at you.
Yeah,
like,
maybe something like that.
What is
something
he doing?
Like that.
And then just eats you anyway. So
yeah, okay, let's just go.
Yeah, I after all these times asking that question, I don't have a better answer myself. I don't know. I like to think I'd be able to make it out, but I really doubt it. I mean, that was such luck, and there's no experience I think that'll get you out of that situation. It's not like a trained raptor where you can just like hold up your hand and just be like, no, stay. But
exactly.
It's a little bit different in this situation.
And it even has to know you, like it knows Owen, so it didn't know Hoskins, and Hoskins was gone after that as well. So
yeah,
even that doesn't work.
All right, so I want to talk about, we're actually going to do this mid-episode, so this is interesting. We haven't done this before, so we're going to actually analyze Extinction Level episode, what was it, 14, I believe? So I'm sure people have heard Extinction Level already, but it's the audio drama where you tell the story that you created, basically taking place after The Lost World and tying into Jurassic Park 3 and also leading into Jurassic World. It's this amazing like tie-in of so much stuff, and I love it. And I actually do these like wrap-ups, and I don't know if I get all the details right every time. I'm kind of just attacking it as a viewer myself and just listening to, or not a viewer, I guess it's audio, but as a listener myself, and just kind of walking myself through it and analyzing what I heard and what I think it means. So I'm kind of following along with everybody as they're listening. So this time I actually want to do it a little bit differently, and I have you here, so why don't we just discuss this episode, together? I thought that would be a fun idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right.
It's really funny to listen to your analysis afterwards every time for me, because it's also for me, did things that I come up with, did they come over correctly or not? You do get a lot of it right, so that's good. That's a good sign, I guess.
All right, well, that's good. I never know if I'm like, stepping on the plot's toes or anything, or just making up my own theories that don't make any sense. So I'm always just like, oh man, I hope I'm on the right path here.
You're pretty on point.
But that's just the case with any kind of speculation or discussion. We talk about Fallen Kingdom all the time here, and it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is what I think's going to happen. And then I always imagine the people that know what's happening are just laughing at me like, you're such an idiot. That's not what's happening at all.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, who knows? No clue. We'll know in a few months.
I think so. Yeah, pretty soon. So for this episode, it was titled Crash, right? Last episode we found out, at the end of the episode, they're driving that Hummer. It was Dr. Wu, Raymond, and Tim, and the vehicle crashed somehow. I guess it lost its grip, smashed into a tree, and it was like this big cliffhanger over Christmas break. I loved that, how that worked out.
What a year.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. They come as a surprise to me as well, what the ending and when the episodes air. So what the episodes end with and how they air just at the right moment. It's really, really good luck.
Yeah, I know. That's so funny how that's worked out recently. There's been a few points where it just worked out perfectly, the timing. So that was a great one, how it just like left us with this cliffhanger. And then we get into this episode where we're talking and discussing like basically, I guess like mid-series in a way. So you still got a lot lined up. But as for this episode, I guess, we do find out that they're kind of snapping out of it after this crash. The Hummer is having a difficult time starting and all that. So what do? You ask somebody to get out and check the engine, of course. But that doesn't always like go the way as planned, right?
No, exactly. I have no clue. I don't know that much about engines.
Oh no!
So I just have Raymond knowing all that stuff, and I just have him looking. So I don't have to describe what he's doing there.
Yeah, just leave it to him. The camera stays in the car, so you're with them, and then Raymond's outside, not knowing what he's doing. But he does. He gets the car started, but compies show up. What else happens when somebody's alone by themselves out where you can't actually see them too well? Dinosaurs show up. So that's what happens here. Yeah. And the way I sensed it is actually the way that most of the characters in these movies have sensed it is they don't take the compies too seriously.
Yeah.
So what happens is he gets himself in some trouble by not taking them too seriously. He gets bit, and he's a bit dazed, but actually gets back in the vehicle. So it doesn't end up like Dieter Stark or anything like that. So that's a good thing.
Survives.
Yeah. But that does, I guess, beg the question, because they get him, back to the worker village, and so they want to get him some rest. They want to get Tim some rest. But I feel like at the same time, Dr. Wu knows something about what happened, and he's a little unsure. And as he's like explaining the events as to what happened, like was with Masrani and Hoskins and stuff. That's what I got the sense of, because every time somebody asks him like, "Oh, what happened out there?" or "What happened with Raymond? How is he?" He's just like, he'll be fine."
Yeah, he's very uncomfortable because Masrani plans to leave at this time, and that's why I need my pilot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Masrani.
No,
I really want to know what Masrani is up to, because he's just like, I gotta leave. I have to leave now. We have to get off the island. He's just like so concerned with getting off, and he's even like begging somebody to hitch him a ride on a boat. So he's pretty serious, but.
He's a very, very busy businessman. So
yeah, that's true.
Indian is not his only concern.
Yeah, very true, very true. So I get the sense, after all this storyline, we get this main storyline here, which I kind of assume is like the main story with Tim and whatever's happening on Sorna. And then we get a side story with Gutierrez, but that side story tells us so much about this main story, and I feel like there's an issue here with Raymond getting bit. And maybe he's infected, or I don't know how quickly this transpires, the sickness. But after hearing this stuff,
it usually didn't go that fast, because in a few earlier episodes back, we had Gutierrez also talking about the girl that was bitten on Sorna, and she was still alive, but she wasn't feeling too well still. But that's 4 years in, so it didn't go that fast early on. But if, like we noticed with the monkey in the story of Gutierrez as well, that monkey died very quickly. So that's something may have changed.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting the sense, that like this thing is rapidly changing and evolving, and it might not look good for Raymond in the future. But as of right now, he's okay. He's resting. So. Like I said, Dr. Wu meets with Masrani and Vic Hoskins, so it's really cool to get Vic Hoskins in this story even more. And I liked one of the details that you had here. What's that?
I love that character, Hoskins.
Yeah, I know. There's so much you can expand upon with that character,
Yeah, I really was. It's a shame he died.
Yeah.
In Jurassic World, but this is before, so I can use it.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, really. I mean, because the only thing they expanded upon in Jurassic World was like that little tiny backstory with this like wolf or dog or something, and his wife. So it's like very minimal. But at least now he's like part of this team, and we know he's part of this team around 2001, where Jurassic Park 3 takes place. So, and I love the entire story that you've been leading up to here, where his team is kind of weaving in and out of that story as well. They seemed like they're hot on the heels of the essentially the intruders from Jurassic Park 3, that they crash land on the island, and he's kind of like on their trail the whole time, except now he's just like, it's getting a little bit too dark. I don't want to be out there at night. There's things like raptors and stuff out there.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's really, really funny. Sometimes I like the parts that I come up with.
Yeah, it's so funny how all this stuff ties in, and I do love that aspect of it. And even one of the little points here is like, I think Wu asked him like, "Hey, did you get that thing or whatever?" And Hoskins like, "Here," and he chucks like a small vial of like, I'm assuming T-Rex pee. That's what it's.
No, it's a sample. It's a sample for Wu trying to see if the T-Rex has the illness as well.
I heard like small vial, and my instant thought was like, the only time I've ever heard a sample of T-Rex is like that small vial of T-Rex pee.
Yeah, that's a different thing, but
hey, you might be able to get a good sample out of that. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
So, like I said here, it looks like Hoskins doesn't want to risk the life of his men, but Masrani does convince him to take Tim with him, I guess maybe in the morning, to try to intercept these uninvited guests. And Masrani, he's just, like we said, crazed to get back to the mainland. So this is that point where Dr. Wu is like, yeah, he should only need a night's rest. He should be able to get you back to the mainland, pilot you back. I'm sure he'll be fine. We'll see, but I'm betting no, but I don't really know specifically. So what's the next thing here? So he leaves via boat. But then we kind of transfer over to Gutierrez, and I do love this storyline too. It's so intriguing, and I've just been like wondering what is happening, and the tone of this side of the story is so different than the other side. I feel like the other side is very adventurous and very fun and exciting, and then this one is always like the music is very curious and like concerning, and James does Gutierrez, right? So he is he does a great job with that character, and I love how serious he takes that part of the role here.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for James, because he very early on he came back to me with very, very much enthusiasm doing John Hammond, which he did a really great job on, and he wanted more. He wanted to do more. So then he asked if some other role. So then he got Gutierrez as well, because it was one of the earlier roles in the part as well. So I could use someone to do that.
Yeah, at first I thought he asked you if he could have every role, because that's the way it seemed.
Well, I think if I wanted to give him every role, he would have done it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
No, I wanted to involve more people from the community.
He's super versatile. He's got like a great range when it comes to his voices, and he for sure could have tackled everybody. It's great. I love hearing all that, and I'm excited because like it's a great performance, and there's a great difference between like his John Hammond and Gutierrez here, because like I said, it's very curious, and we're all about like finding clues. It's kind of he's basically like a detective on this other island, Madanceres, right? So as far as finding clues, it doesn't look like he's finding anything. He's kind of like on the verge of giving up, but then he spots something large over on the shore. So he's got this guy Gonzalo with him. They approach this like leathery carcass. It's got a clawed foot, and Gonzalo's like, "I'm out of here. Like I'm going." So I was like, "Oh no, did he just run away?" But no, he didn't. He came back with Andrea, and in that time, Gutierrez has pulled this body away from the water or the shore, and surprisingly, they come back with a flamethrower. And just
it's actually one of the scenes from the Lost World book in the novel, I think. It's one of the parts that Clayton Fioriti lately gave some comments on in one of his videos.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me not to give every detail away every time I see something that comes back into this story.
Yeah.
But this was one of those parts from the novel that I put in.
That is so. I love that. That is so cool.
It's a different setting, but it's the same kind of atmosphere. I think.
Yeah. So they just ignite that thing, light it on fire, and Gutierrez is sample. Like, he just doesn't get it. This body's burning. So, and one of the parts I liked.
You got just enough sample to recognize that this body also had. Was infected.
I wasn't sure because I hear like the thing broke in half or something, and I was just like, oh no, he probably didn't get it because it's engulfed in flames at the moment. But well, that's good. At least he got enough.
he got a very small sample, so he doesn't have any more because he needed the whole sample to test it. Mm-hmm. And with the test, it came out positive. So it's also infected, and that's why he makes the call to the mainland.
Yeah.
First, I had James re-record the lines for they all got to be destroyed, but I already put this in, and it sounds so much like Muldoon.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I got to love this version, so I left it in.
Yeah, I know. I loved that little touch. It was so perfect when he said that all the animals should be destroyed. It just made sense thematically and all that. It was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
And another one of his lines, he's just like, "Sorry, John, I can't keep this quiet any longer." Like it was such a great quote.
Broken promise.
Yeah, just thinking about John and that promise, and then what could potentially happen after that. I mean, if we're taking into the situation here, like Jurassic World and all that. Doesn't seem like it mattered too much, but, everybody kept going about their business. But I'm interested to see what happens here in this part of the story. And one of the interesting parts here is, I guess the muscles are kind of just moving as this thing's burning, and he recognizes as it's moving that it's a male velociraptor just washing up on this shore. So that's really interesting. I'm super curious to find out what else has washed around, or why is this happening, and all that. So there is so many questions, and there's plenty of episodes left, so I think we'll get some answers and stuff like that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, pretty soon we'll know more what happens after the call.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an awesome episode. I really liked that one a lot.
For this episode, I also really loved the soundtrack coming together with the last part with Gutierrez. I had this track from Batman vs Superman in mind for this, and it fit perfectly. Somehow it works like that a few times.
I know. You just so happen to pick like the perfect scores for all of these. Like they just work so well. Like you mix in and out. Like this one had what is this? The Ghost and the Darkness, something from that. Someone's Death or something.
Yeah. There's a name there, but not to give any spoilers.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, what? So who's someone? Okay. All right. It makes a lot of sense now. You're not going to go the whole like episode 1 Star Wars route and just spoil it.
Last time with the track from the Lion King, you seemed a little bit uncomfortable with naming the name. So I thought, okay, let's just leave the name off.
Oh no, I was cracking up at that because it was like Mufasa's death, and as I was reading it, I was like, well, spoilers, but no, who cares? That's an old movie; it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was really funny to listen to.
Yeah, because every time I do one of these, it's like a stream of consciousness. And actually, as we were just talking, I kind of just like dove into that mindset, and I forgot we were recording for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, wait, I gotta let him talk for a second. I'm used to like spitting all these out as I'm like theorizing and talking about it to myself. So it's funny how you can go from, like a solo recording, and sometimes you forget that you're recording with somebody else when that happens.
Luckily, we're just now one-on-one, so I know I can talk. But with Tom last time, there were four guys in the call, and I was just listening. I thought I was just listening to a podcast, and then at some points I thought, okay, I can say something.
I know. Oh, that is the worst, because when you're like sitting there talking with people that you've heard before on a recording. You just you think you're just listening. You've got your headphones in. You're like listening to a podcast, and you're like, oh yeah, me, I'm up. Oh, that happens so often. It kills me. But
you find yourself nodding along, and no one can hear that.
Yeah, this time you can actually comment along, so you can't forget that part.
Yeah.
So let's see. Who do we have? Ross has been doing a great job as Henry Wu, and he did another awesome job in this episode.
He surprised me so much with the first time he sent me his Henry Wu lines, and I thought, this is Henry Wu. It's really great. I didn't know his voice before, I think. I only knew him from I knew his voice, but I met him in London. But this was a very short time. I was in London for the double feature in Prince Charles Cinema.
Oh, nice,
my first time in London.
Nice. Yeah, that must have been pretty epic.
Yeah, it was really nice. I just flew in the night before. No, in the morning, and then in the morning after I returned. So it was just to London and back to go to the cinema. I walked through London the whole way, the whole day. And then after that, I went to the cinema, and then 2:00 I passed by Selfridges because I promised my wife I took a picture of it. And I continued back to the hotel. I think I slept 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then I took a shower and left for the museum. And then I went home again.
Well, that's an epic trip there. I heard about that event, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to go to that. It would be so awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice. Meeting a few of the other guys as well.
I guess speaking about your particular fandom, moving on, we'll get back to Extinction Level again, talk a little bit more about that. But I want to find out more about you and like where your head's at when you're becoming a fan. So, you started submitting stuff to the podcast. I think it was like May of 2017, in kind of preparing for Extinction Level. But your fandom has been around so much longer than that, I'm assuming. So you seem super experienced in like the themes of these films and books, and super knowledgeable about all these intertwined storylines and running them through the books and out of the books and into the movies and like stuff that doesn't necessarily tie together, but you're like tying stuff together. So you know a ton, but where did that all stem from? Like your Jurassic Park fandom? What was like do you remember like the first time you saw it or any of your first memories about the series?
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to the cinema in part. I know I kept my eyes closed the first time Gennaro got eaten and the first time in the kitchen. I think I was 12 at the time. And then I went to the cinema a second time to see the whole movie.
Yeah.
But it started from the first movie for me.
So all the way back in '93, you're sitting there getting scared.
Yeah. I remember I was with a friend and we decided to walk the way back, but we were in a cinema a town further, so it was a long walk. And then we decided to take the bus, but it was a Sunday. It took an hour, and then we called eventually. So it was a very strange way to come home. That's what I remember from that first night.
And so that was your first introduction. You didn't get involved in the books or anything first?
No. My first introduction was the movie, and I think I didn't even see the trailer from it. I saw one shot with Ellie Sattler calling "Run" to Alan Grant at the top of the hill, and that was it. That was the first scene I've seen before I saw the movie. So I was really surprised with the raptors in the beginning of the movie. I had no clue what was going on, and then I was thrown back. I'm not sure how to say it. I really was amazed with the story, and I really believed it was possible. And I know I was looking. I was enthusiastic about dinosaurs before. I was watching Land of the Lost with the hand puppets and stuff like that. And then seeing these dinosaurs on the screen, they were real.
Yeah.
For a 12-year-old kid, they just did it.
Yeah, that's all it takes, just seeing those things on screen to just hook you for life. It's a pretty crazy experience.
Yeah, definitely. So it started there, and I think everything for me with the whole loving soundtracks, reading the books from movies, watching movies, learning the names of the actors. It all started with Jurassic Park for me. I went to the library and I rented the CD, I think, from Jurassic Park, the soundtrack, the first soundtrack I had rented, and then later I bought it. And I printed the inside of it. I went to a copy shop and I had it printed large.
Nice.
I hung it above my bed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, crazy stuff like that. After Jurassic Park, I really wanted to know what would happen afterwards. And when I heard Michael Crichton was writing a second book, I bought that one the moment it got out. I also, the video of Jurassic Park, I watched it 100 times after it was released. My mother was crazy, went crazy. Another time?
Again?
Yeah.
VHS
Again,
is just
again.
like ran until they broke, right?
Yeah, I had time. I think I have I bought the movie 4 times on VHS. I don't know how many times on DVD, and I've got it 3 times on Blu-ray now. I don't know why. It's just different edition.
I know. They just do that to you. They just make you buy all these different editions over and over and over. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And some of them come with like a cool, alternate VHS, like Jurassic Park came with those and stuff. It was such a great time to be a fan. And I think you're right. Like, it is that time period where you start like being more involved in film and start wondering like more about film and how things are made and just like watching all these behind the scenes footage and just trying to learn about the actors and all that. So it is like a very good, kicking off point for a lot of people.
Yeah, and they had the books too, the making of Jurassic Park and The Lost World. Really, really great books.
Yeah.
And looking at them.
I always wonder, what is it like for people around the world? I know what my fandom was here in the U.S., and it was a very isolated experience because it was just me and my cousin and maybe my sister. We were the only ones that I knew at that time, aside from like maybe one kid in school like years before, but there was nobody else. So I always wonder around the world, like, what is the experience? Because you're from the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, correct.
So what was
for me,
it?
the experience is the same. I don't really know anyone who's that crazed about Jurassic Park as I am around me. Then of course you meet online a lot of people who know much more even.
It's funny how that
it's
works.
Really, really fun. Yeah, it's great. I really love it.
Yeah, you go from being like the most knowledgeable one to all of a sudden you have to deal with so many people that know so much more and can like quote more, and like James, for instance, he can quote like certain segments of the movie like from his memory, and he's always sending us audio from it, and it's so hilarious how he does that. So you find these people that just know so much more about it, and just fandom that like equals your level even, and you're just like, wow, like I feel welcomed here. It's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Here I can talk about Jurassic Park, and people say, "Yeah, I got the same feeling about that." And instead of, "What are you talking about?" I don't care.
But what is it that kept that fandom alive for you after all those years? Because, obviously, I guess the movies kept it alive for a few years, a little bit of gaps here and there, but not too bad. And then obviously, like, what was it, 14 years, I believe, before Jurassic World. So what is it that kind of kept that alive for you after all that time?
It's a really good question. I didn't expect that one. No, I actually don't know. We had, of course, The Lost World and then Jurassic Park 3. And I always tried to start writing, because after The Lost World, it was that the book had lost so much in the movie. There was so much more in the books than was in the movie for me. Mm-hmm. So that's why I started writing after The Lost World. I've always written other stories, but about Jurassic Park was after The Lost World. And in 2001, Jurassic Park 3 came out, and I started another few stories. And I think it was the rumors, and then of course you get the social media. That was later on. But when you get to interact with other guys talking about Jurassic Park, and then you see stuff online, I'm not really sure what kept it going. But in 2011, I started writing the first 2 stories that I finally finished, because the other stories I never got to work really well, and these two I got to finish. And then I was contacted in 2015 about those scripts. Just after the Lost World, Jurassic World, sorry, and and that's what got me to write Extinction Level eventually, because I wanted to adapt those first two screenplays to one story that fit the canon.
Okay. So yeah,
and
I
guess include Masrani Global as well in canon.
Yeah, so you're kind of trying to figure it out as you're going along, and that sounds like what's kept you alive like all this time, or your fandom alive, is just kind of like weaving in and out these theories and stuff after Jurassic Park 3 and all that talk around the time when people are talking about Jurassic Park 4 and what's going to come, and you're just like, all right, I got to come up with this story and weave in and out all these details that I'm thinking about, and obviously the Jurassic World stuff comes along, so that really does sound like enough. For me, it was like the toys and stuff like that. Did you ever get into any of the collecting or toys or anything like that?
I did. I think I did. I had the Spitter and the Velociraptor from the first Jurassic Park, and I filled it with black ink, and my mother wasn't too happy about that because it stains.
God.
So I stopped using that.
Oh, that's one of those things
then,
that you just every kid did, something stupid with their toys, and
yeah. Yeah, and parents don't expect them to do that, and then they have to deal with the stuff. Afterwards. But I think I bought more after the Lost World, because then I had more money to spend. So I had to have the green Rex, and I think I also had the Triceratops, but I can't find it anymore.
Oh.
The Stegosaurus I have, a few other small ones.
Yeah,
and of course the die-cast statues, which I finally completed this Christmas.
Yeah,
but no, I never really played. What I usually did with the toys is put it in a certain order and make up the story around it.
Yeah, it's a strange hobby, everybody has their own way of collecting and amassing these toys and different memorabilia and all that stuff. So I always find it interesting to see what other people did, because I threw mine around. I was maybe a little bit younger, because you said you were like 12 around the time of the first movie, so I was just maybe a few years younger. But so I'm playing like crazy with these things, and it shows the wear and tear on all these things, and I kind of like that about them, and now I've got them all lined up and stuff too. So it's funny how that works, and how you change your collecting styles over the years and stuff.
Yeah, my stuff is almost in mint condition, just not the boxes. Yeah. And lately my son started to play with the Lost World's Carter with the motorcycle. And of course it's broken now.
Oh, no.
So I glued it together. So it should have been able to break, and then you could put it together again. And now it was really broken. So I glued it together now, and it cannot break like it used to, but it still looks good.
Yeah. So you've got a young kid too,
it's for
right?
Playing.
He's pretty young still, right?
Yeah. He's 2.5 now.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Like, obviously you had one breakage there. So are you interested in passing along a lot of these, toys and other things, or are you deciding to keep some of it for yourself? Yeah. Like, how's that work for you?
I've got a display, and what's in the display is not to play with, and the other stuff you can play with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
the display is locked.
It's a tough situation, because I certainly have things that I'm like, all right, nobody should touch these. But then other ones I'm like, oh, these are good and they're hefty. Like, go ahead, you can throw them around, because right now I have a nephew who's like 2.5 or so, I think, and my son he's only almost 6 months at this point, so he's not really playing with any of that stuff yet. But it's funny. We've had kids come over, and like other friends' kids, and I had my toys out, and they're like throwing them across the room. I had the Bolt T-Rex out like on the couch, and I come back home because like I think they were over in the middle of the day when I was at work or something, and my wife's like, yeah, he threw that toy against the fireplace and smashed that one against the wall, and I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Don't let that happen. But like I got to figure that out still. I have a little bit of time before he can play with all this stuff, so I'm trying to figure out what stays and what goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty solid stuff, so it doesn't really break most of it.
Yeah, I think for the most part it is. Yeah, I have some of my vehicles are a little falling apart, and like stuff like the hide. I don't have like all the pieces, and the motorcycles don't have all the pieces. Like you said something broke on yours. I'm missing like handlebars and all kinds of stuff on that. So. Well, sure, go ahead. Mess with those. That's fine.
To be played with, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are toys. They can handle it. And then you could always buy new ones if you want to. And it just adds to the story because right now, like the story is just me and my cousin and my sister. That's the only story is us playing with those items. So it'll be interesting to add a new layer to that story. And I'll have something else to remember as I look at these toys, which is a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you. I know it's a little polarizing for everybody, but how would you rank these films? Some people have a hard time ranking them, or 1 to 4. But what do you think? Do you have a certain order that you view these in?
I'd definitely put Jurassic Park first, and then The Lost World, and afterwards Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. And not Jurassic World specifically last, but I think it's the same level of Jurassic Park 3.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't really dislike any of them. For most movies, it counts that I disliked them at first, except for the first one. Even The Lost World, I disliked it at the beginning because it was so different from the book.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, you just accept that it's different, and you start to look at the movie from the standalone perspective, and then it's a good movie. It's really enjoyable. And the same goes for Jurassic Park 3. The only part I disliked from that movie is that it ended. But, who does want the movie to end? So. Yeah, I really like that it picked up so many points from the second book, and to recognize some of the stuff from the first book as well. Mm-hmm. So, and for Jurassic World, I'm just really happy that it's there.
Yeah.
And it could have been better, but let's just see what Fallen Kingdom is going to give us.
Yeah, I think all these films have their faults and downfalls and stuff like that, but we're fans and we look past a lot of it, and we've got nostalgic eyes where we don't even consider the issues that may appear in Jurassic Park or sometimes The Lost World. We just look past a lot of that stuff and just assume that they're all like perfect films, and that's okay, and we can have a good time with them. And Jurassic Park 3 wasn't perfect for me. I actually didn't like it at first, but now I find it to be very enjoyable, and it's probably one of the ones that I put on my TV more often than not. Mostly because it is short, I guess, and it's a very quick, fast-paced movie. You don't really have to sit there and think about it and watch it. It just happens. And then, like you said, it ends. And you're like, oh, I thought it was going to be longer than that. But no, it's pretty short.
Yeah, same for me.
So, I'm really interested, though. What's your expectations for Fallen Kingdom?
I try not to get too much expectations. I really loved the behind the scenes spot because it was very fast, and like Jennifer said as well, the music of that just really gives me goosebumps. And the trailer is a nice addition, and I really just want to see it. I'm waiting for the movie to come out, and I'm really going to enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, don't even give us anything else. We've got enough. This is it. We'll analyze, that behind the scenes and the trailer, until the day the movie comes out. And I don't think we need much. I know they'll give us some stuff here and there, but it's just just give us the movie. That's all we want.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited, but like you said, I'm trying to temper my expectations and not get too overhyped now. It's hard when you're discussing it on a podcast every week. not to get too overhyped or create too many theories and whatnot. But that's what I'm trying to back off the theories, just because I don't want to get too crazed about it. Yeah,
and if you get expectations that you really wanted to go in, and then it doesn't go in that direction, then you're just disappointed, and that's a shame.
Yeah, and I think that was the issue with Jurassic World for a lot of people is that expectation that you're going to get Jurassic Park again. And, you know, that didn't happen. It's obviously a very, very different film, and it's okay to be very different. And, you know, it's just I understand why people are let down by it.
I've seen comments online as well that are very accurate, and I agree with a lot of the negative comments as well. Just not the tone, the very negative tone that they put it in. I think if they made it more like a learning kind of document, then I agree with them.
Yeah, there's a difference though between just being overly critical for no reason and then being like actually giving a good critique that could benefit, you know, the future of the franchise and the future of the fandom and all that. So there's a big difference there.
Yeah, exactly.
But
overall, it got us a lot of newcomers loving the franchise. So it cannot be that bad.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I know it's created a whole new world for everybody in the fandom, and you know, we would probably not be talking at the moment, you know, and creating this, you know, community and whatnot. It would just be, you know, what it was for the past 14 years and slowly dying off. So we have to thank, you know, everybody that, you know, rebooted this project and got it off the ground and, you know, created something that's very good. You know, it did a great job at what it needed to do. And
I really love that they introduced Masrani, and I really love the backstory with Hoskins. No, not so much his history, but his character type. And I think I really do like the tamed raptors. I was already introduced to tame raptors with the comics, so it wasn't really a new idea to me. And I thought it was possible because like dogs too, like wolves, they're very aggressive, but dogs are related to wolves and they're very tame and loving towards humans. So not that raptors will ever be loving towards humans, I guess, but
hey, you never know. I mean, we didn't live that back then, so maybe they were like very sweet, innocent dinosaurs.
Yeah, and I agree that I do want to really see the tame raptors versus wild raptors. That's something I really love to see.
Yes.
And of course the wild raptors would win. But,
yeah, I have a feeling. Unless like the tame ones are just like sort of like, you know, if you take like a basketball team, like a NBA team versus like some guys that get together on the weekend, like the NBA team will just destroy them most likely. So I would assume that maybe these tamed raptors have like a thorough like plan that they run by, and it's just like, you know, just taking everything out one by one, like systematically. But I do feel like I'm on your side there. I feel like the wild, you know, aspect of it, like the Lost World Raptors just seem so brutal, you know, like so crazed. And I feel like they'd take down any raptor almost.
Yeah, I agree.
I love
for no reason.
I know, exactly. I loved that moment, though, in Extinction Level that you brought to life there, that raptor battle. I keep talking about how awesome that was. Probably one of my favorite parts of Extinction Level so far is just like hearing that come to life and just hearing them battle it out. It was so cool.
Did it sound familiar?
I mean, yeah, it definitely did. I love that.
The fighting was the original part from Jurassic Park, where they were fed from the cow.
Yeah. I love that, how you can like find these audio cues and fit them into Extinction Level in the perfect way. And you're probably cutting in and around, you know, the other audio and different stuff like that from the movies and trying to like fit this stuff in perfectly. And it's seamless. You know, you I don't know, as a creator, maybe you find like, oh, maybe I could have done that differently or this or that. But like as a listener, it's just so awesome to hear all those things come together and fit so perfectly. I love that.
Well, that's really nice for me to listen to it while making it, because it really comes together piece by piece, and then you add another sound here and another sound there, and it really comes to life. And that's something I think that's amazing for any creator. When you see or hear something come to life. In my case, it's hearing. So and I wish I was more creative in the sense of video or drawings, but I'm not blessed there.
We'll leave that to other people to take care of. We'll do the audio
exactly.
end. So you got into writing and decided you wanted to do like a Jurassic Park fan fiction early on, it seems like, and and you combined these scripts and made, I guess, Extinction Level, right? So at what point did you decide, like, hey, I want to take this script and turn it into audio?
I really wanted to do more with this script because I had already written 2 scripts, and you put them online, and a few people read them, and you never hear anything about it because myself, I don't read that well online on the screen, and who's going to print a fan-written screenplay? I don't think too many people do that. So. I just wanted to do more with this script, and then I pitched it to a few people on the chat, on the WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. And Ross was one of the first that was very, very, very enthusiastic, which really surprised me a little bit. And from there I got the idea going. I had a comic in mind as well, but like I said, I'm not too good with drawings. I did a few drawings, but that didn't really get me excited.
It never comes out the way you want it to. You have this like vision in your mind. I'm a great artist. I could do this, and then you actually put pencil to paper, and you're like, nope, I don't have it. I can't do it.
Exactly. What you have in your mind is so much different than what you see on the paper eventually. So I just stopped that, and then I got the idea for the radio play after your podcast on the with the robot. I forgot the name.
The 2XL.
2XL, yeah, that one. So that one got me into thinking like that, and the audiobooks were mentioned as well. So I thought, well, maybe that's a nice way to tell the story. Mm-hmm. And so it started with the trailer in episode 99 of your podcast.
Yeah.
Of this podcast.
This one that you're currently listening to.
We're airing this one, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because I listened back to that one recently, and it was just you kind of just like subtly put it out there, and it was like, and nobody knew what to expect really of it. So it's just like, all right. People come to me, pretty often and just say like, hey, do you think I could do a segment, or do you think I could put this out there or play this audio or whatnot? So I'm like, yeah, sure, let's play it. And then from that point, from what you created in that first episode to what it turned into is so awesome and such a dramatic change, because you did all the voices and stuff yourself, and it sounded great. Yeah. And then to think of how it blew up and became what it did is so awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice when I approached someone on Twitter. I usually contacted people through Twitter. Mm-hmm. Would you be interested to record a voice? And most people were just really, yeah, cool, of course. It's really nice. Really nice response to get.
Yeah, people in the community are pretty awesome.
For example, Francisco. Yeah, for example, Francisco Casco, who plays Gonzalo in this episode. He was really enthusiastic directly, and only afterwards I discovered he's a paleontologist himself, and he has the Alpacazoico website. So he's very much involved in Spanish.
I know,
and I needed someone who knew Spanish for the role.
That's so funny because
it was very nice.
It's like a section of fandom that we speak English here and all that, so I don't see that end of the fandom. He has a huge following and a huge presence online that he's doing, and it's so awesome to kind of weave that into what we're doing and vice versa. So it's very cool, and it opens you up because I didn't even knew that existed in a way, and I feel bad about that, but it's just not focused towards me because I don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. That's, my own fault. Yeah.
But I try to learn it now because my wife is Peruvian, so her parents, my parents-in-laws, they speak Spanish. And for that reason, I tried to learn it.
That's one of the only reasons I've tried to learn it as well, because I went to Peru and just had no clue what I was doing.
You went to Machu Picchu.
I did, yeah. I went to Lima. What's the other one? Cusco and Machu Picchu and all that. Yeah, it was an awesome country. It's such a great place.
I've only seen Lima so far and a place a little up north. Yeah, it's off topic. Well.
How can we weave dinosaurs into this story? Yeah, I went to Peru and I went to Machu Picchu and I was like looking at the ancient temple and just like I found dinosaur bones. Yeah, there it is. That's how it fits.
They have no dinosaurs in Nazca, I believe.
But yeah, so one of the interesting things I'm wondering about Extinction Level is from script to audio drama, was there any kind of changes that you felt yourself or find yourself making, along the way?
Yeah.
Whether maybe this part in the script didn't work in an audio version, or did you find any issues like that?
Yeah, definitely. It's from the start. The moment I started to record for the audio play, I noticed that most things in the script were written in a way that you see it, but you don't see it, so that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you really need to describe the things a little bit differently. So every episode I rewrite for the radio program, the radio play, and then I record the whole episodes in one go with my own voice, and then later I cut every part for all the voices, and then I add in all the voice clips that I have from everyone who sent it in.
That's funny. That's because you said you were styling it off of 2XL, and we did a Halloween episode, and I did my own version of 2XL. Like I did all the voices at first, like exactly like what you just said. Like I recorded all my stuff, and then asked people around the community to do the same thing like you're doing, and then I interspliced them in there as well. So we're on the same level here. I like that.
Yeah, it's a great way of working, I guess, because you also know the timing.
Yeah,
a little bit of the episode.
But I get what you mean, because a lot of times I'll script out what's going on the podcast and like the news and the intros and all that. And then when I go to read them, I'm like, that doesn't read well. So I kind of like change things up as I'm going along. So I understand how that happens. And it probably takes you quite a while. How long does it take you to assemble all these episodes?
I think every episode. At first, they were very short, so I listened to every episode a few times. And now with episodes of 10 minutes, that takes every time 10 minutes to listen to the episode and spot new things. But I think for these 10-minute episodes, it takes me 12 hours.
Yeah, I get that.
with from writing again from the screenplay to finding all the voice, the sounds I want to add, and listening for sounds where I can add them.
Yeah, you said the earlier ones were like 3 minutes, and I'm like, well, 3 minutes can turn into like a very long, like a many hours worth of editing and figuring out what you need to do. So it's no small feat, even just producing 3 minutes of content,
Yeah, you really get to respect all the Foley artists and stuff like that for this. And I don't even make the sounds myself. I find them on YouTube and see what works. And for some things I use some very different sounds. I don't want to give those things away, but I use sometimes very different sounds than what it describes is happening. But it works. So
it does. Yeah, You can maybe throw effects on or different sounds and intersplice it with other things, and it ends up sounding just the way you want it to. And I mean, that's what they did in the movies. They didn't have dinosaurs to go and record, so they got other things and they interspliced them and made the best version they could.
Yeah, how great is that with the Velociraptor, with the dolphin and the whale and I don't know what.
I don't know. You just create like the best version that what you think it could sound like, and it's fun. It's really fun. I know I have a lot of fun editing different things like that, and just like even the Site B segments where we kind of pretend like we're on Site B. I just like having birds chirping and just sounds of like nature and stuff like that, and every now and then I throw in roars, but those roars are actually just like a walrus, a tiger, or something that sound vaguely dinosaur. It works. Yeah,
there's a new dinosaur coming up which we haven't seen in the movies yet. in one of that I can give away. I'm not saying which one. So I'm also so I was also looking for what would this sound like. Is it a big animal or a small animal? And how to make it bigger or smaller. It's nice to look into it that way.
Yeah.
And of course you have to go by existing animals, because you don't have sounds from extinct animals.
Yeah, just like comparing the sizes and different things, and and
that's really fun to work with.
It must be fun to kind of work with the human aspect of the community and not just trying to make up sounds, but like getting people from all around, like you talked about Francisco or James, or you got all these people that are taking part. Has it been fun, like corralling all these people together, and or has it even been like difficult to schedule or plan ahead?
No, not really. It's been very easy, actually. It's one of the things that amazed me, because I didn't expect people to be that open to go into this, because I don't think they have read the story at first, and I just I think I sent everyone, like I sent you a few lines, and so the most people I just send a few lines, but like Jennifer as well, she has a very long list of lines. And she was open to it, and James as well for Hammond, and Ross for Ross. Henry Wu is a very big part, as we've heard in the last few episodes. And they were very, very open to record. And it's really nice the way it's been received.
And not only, inside of our community, but you also have a lot of people outside the community too, that like names we don't necessarily know or recognize, people that everyday life.
Yeah.
So how has it been, integrating people that may not care too much about Jurassic, but, feel like they can play a role in this series?
I'm really grateful for them to help me out with this.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure if they hear the episodes. I think I do send them the episodes when I finish them, so then at least they can hear what it sounds like. But not everyone of them follows the story.
Yeah, I think you've got your wife on there a lot, and what did you say, coworkers or something like that, like.
Yeah, an old coworker of mine, Hammond Mishra, he does the voice for Masrani.
Yeah, he's great.
And and a few friends of mine are doing the voices as well.
That's awesome, and it's always interesting to kind of bring this stuff up outside of the community and be like, hey guys, I do this thing, it's a thing that, it's Jurassic Park, and, you maybe get a few weird looks, but you're like, hey, it means something to me. Do you mind participating in it? So, I give you a lot of credit for asking, outside the community as well.
Yeah, well, it started out to do so because I needed people to do the voices, and I didn't really know who to ask. And at first I had no clue. Like the first most people are in the beginning of the episodes, and one friend he really wanted to be involved as well, so I asked him as well for one of the parts. And he'll come in later. But most of the voices were in the beginning. So when I really just needed people and didn't know who to address, because Normally, I'm not that open. I don't speak a lot. And that was really funny as well, because in the first few episodes, it really got my throat hurting, because normally I don't use my voice that much. And then recording all those episodes in one go,
It's tough. I mean, I'm over like 150 episodes, side episodes and all that stuff, and after recording for an hour, I'm like, oh man, my voice is getting there. It's hurting. Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Because like you, I don't really care to talk that much outside of the podcast.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, I guess.
Yeah. So, we've got a lot left for Extinction Level. I mean, we're probably, lined out until around Fallen Kingdom, maybe before or after. I'm not sure where you're set up there, but... It's got a lot left, so I'm excited about that. Yeah,
I have no clue how long, how many minutes it will be, but we're now at the 1.5 hour point, I think, with all the episodes. And we're halfway with the number of episodes. So we're now at number 14, and we planned 28 episodes.
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
And I'm not telling anything about the story further.
No, yeah, don't give it away. Let it all unfold, because like I've said before, I don't like to listen ahead. I'll listen to the one episode, that's currently going to come out, and sometimes you send me like multiple, around the same time, and I'm like, all right, no, I'll listen to those, the week before that they're coming out, so that way it's kind of fresh and new, and I can write my notes as I'm listening and kind of get like a first reaction. So that's what I like to do, and I like to listen along with everybody essentially. So I'm super excited to find out what comes next and where this thing goes. It's so awesome. The descriptive language is great. You do this perfectly. It creates these amazing visuals between the actors and the soundscapes and the music and all that. I just love the sound design. So you do an amazing job with it, and I'm super pumped that you brought it to us and like said, here, you guys can air it first, and then you'll do your own thing with it afterwards. So it's very cool. I'm super happy about that.
Thank you so much, and I also thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on the podcast like this, for the Extinction Level itself and for this interview.
Yeah, no problem. It's always a blast, and especially talking with somebody that haven't talked to essentially in person before. So it's always nice to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, before we get you out of here, I do want to ask you a bunch of rapid fire questions. It's something a little new that we introduced on one of the last visitor centers. So it's rapid fire questionnaire in 30 seconds, or is it a minute? I don't know. It might be a minute. All you have to do is answer these questions, give an answer or either a yes or a no, and I think that's going to give us some insight into how you really feel about this franchise. So let me go ahead. I'm going to start the clock. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let me get this thing back. Let's go to the 30-second mark. All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Jurassic Park, The Lost World, JP3, or Jurassic World? We know that answer. Come on.
Jurassic Park.
Feathers or no feathers?
No feathers.
Jurassic Park area in Orlando or Hollywood?
No clue.
Gymnastics scene, yes or no?
Yes.
Alan Grant or Ian Malcolm?
Alan Grant.
San Diego, yes or no?
Yes.
Sarah Harding or Claire Deering?
Sarah Harding.
Is Ben Hildebrand the worst?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. All right, that's great. That's perfect. I think we got a good sense. And like I said, I'm super happy that you brought Extinction Level to us. You joined up on the podcast, always submitting stuff, and you're coming along on this journey with us, and we're going along with you. So thank you so much for all your efforts and everything that you're doing. In the meantime, where can everybody track you down and discover what you're up to, and where they can find all the solo audio for Extinction Level?
Yeah, I'm mostly active on Twitter with the @ExtinctionLVLJP. That's the Extinction Level Twitter, and my own is Bos_Arjan, ARJAN. And I have a YouTube channel which you can find through Twitter. I don't know really the details.
I'll put everything in the show notes, so if you want to track them down, it'll all be in there. And this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
All right, I'll take it. We'll discuss a lot more off the air. And everybody, if you haven't yet, go back, listen to all the Extinction Levels, and you can find them all on his YouTube or in our episodes. And I seriously suggest you check them out. They're very awesome. So thanks again, Arjan, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, bye.
Make sure to visit JurassicParkPodcast.com to find all our past episodes, brand new news articles, information on how to contact us, and much more. It's a great source for everything related to the podcast, and of course, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Head to JurassicParkPodcast.com and help us build a great community.
Anybody hear that?
Thanks for listening to the 132nd episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. Of course, a big thanks to Arjan for joining me. This is exactly what I love about this podcast, is getting the opportunity to meet fellow Jurassic Park fans and find out why they love this franchise so much. You know, I've messaged him a lot online about all this stuff, Extinction Level, and it's great to actually sit down and talk with somebody. That's something you don't get a lot through the internet. You know, you're always just seeing the text from the other person, so it's great to actually find out more and to hear it come straight from him. So thank you so much, man, for producing great content for the Jurassic community. Stay tuned, there's plenty more of Extinction Level to come. If you want to interact with us, we do most of our work over on Twitter at Jurassic Park Pod. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Jurassic Park Podcast, and our Instagram handle is at Jurassic Park Podcast. You can listen to us via iTunes, Google Play, Podomatic, YouTube, our website, or wherever else podcasts are found. So make sure to subscribe to automatically get new episodes every week. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes or a great review wherever you listen to the podcast. It will seriously help out our rankings and make it easier for fans like you to find us. We're usually spotted commenting on the Jurassic Park subreddit as Jurassic Park Podcast. Don't forget to check out JurassicParkPodcast.com for all the links you heard here today. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email us with any news stories, MP3s, comments, or if you want to debut a segment of your own, send them to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Or you can submit questions directly on our website contact form. If you'd like to record something for the show, send it in to us and we'll feature it in an upcoming episode. If you don't have any way to record, you can give our voicemail line a call and leave us a message. That number is 732-825-7763. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.
Five minutes. Drop what you're doing and leave now.